Hello English learners, have you ever heard someone speak English so fluently that you thought, wow, I wish I could speak like that? Well, guess what? You can, starting today. I'm Ananya, and in this English lesson, I'm going to teach you 10 C1 level English idioms that fluent English speakers use almost every day in their daily conversations. And trust me, learning these idioms will make your English sound just amazing. So come on, let's get started. Here comes the first one. Play it by ear. Now, you might think this has something to do with music, right? But actually, it has nothing to do with ears or instruments. When someone says they will play it by ear, they mean they don't have a fixed plan. They are going to figure things out as they go, depending on the situation. Imagine this. Your friend asks, "What time should we leave for the mall?" And you say, "I'm not sure yet. We'll play it by ear." That means you'll decide later based on how things go. Let's look at some more examples. I didn't plan my speech. I will just play it by ear. I don't know what to order yet. I'll see the menu and play it by ear. We may go out tonight, but we'll play it by ear depending on how tired we feel. That was easy, right? Now it's your turn. Why don't you try making a sentence with played by ear and drop it in the comments? It'll help you remember this idiom better. The next idiom on my list is to read between the lines. Now, this one is about understanding the hidden meaning behind someone's words. See, people don't always say exactly what they feel. Sometimes they leave clues in the way they speak, and it's up to us to catch those clues. Let me explain. If your friend says, "I'm happy for you," but doesn't smile and sounds dull, now you might read between the lines and realize that your friend is not really happy. Maybe, he or she is jealous or upset. Got it? Come on, let's take a look at some examples. His email sounded polite, but if you read between the lines, he's not happy with the changes. She said everything was okay, but I could read between the lines something was wrong. You have to read between the lines when he talks. He never says things directly. Isn't it an interesting idiom? Try using it. Moving on to the next idiom, that's cut corners. Now, this idiom means to take shortcuts, either to save time or money. Now, you often do things carelessly. It's usually a negative phrase and suggests that doing something quickly but not properly. See, for example, imagine a builder uses poor quality materials to finish the house faster and cheaper. Now that's cutting corners, and it could be dangerous as well. Here are some more examples. The company cut corners to reduce costs, and the product turned out to be faulty. Don't cut corners when writing your report. If you cut corners while cooking, it won't taste good. All right, moving to the next idiom. A blessing in disguise. I simply love this idiom. Now, this idiom may sound a bit mysterious, but it describes something that seems bad at first, but actually turns out to be good later. Let's say you didn't get the job you wanted and you feel disappointed about it. But then a better opportunity comes up, one that suits you more, something you always wanted. Now that rejection in a job interview, it was a blessing in disguise. Come on, let's look at some examples. Losing that job felt terrible, but it was a blessing in disguise. I found something better. A flat tire made us late, but it was a blessing in disguise. We avoided the traffic jam. Failing the exam was tough, but it was a blessing in disguise because I discovered a better career path. Have you ever felt that something initially was bad and later discovered that it was a blessing in disguise? Well, let me know in the comments. And we move on to the next interesting idiom, and that's to throw someone under the bus. Well, we are not literally throwing someone under the bus. This idiom means blaming someone or betraying them to protect yourself or make yourself look better. Let's say your team misses a deadline, and instead of taking responsibility, your colleague blames you in front of the boss. Now that's throwing you under the bus. Here are some more examples. She threw me under the bus in the meeting to look good in front of the manager. I thought he was my friend, but he threw me under the bus to avoid trouble. He made a mistake and threw his assistant under the bus. Come on, let's move on to the next one. Easier said than done. Have you ever gotten advice that sounds simple, but that advice is really hard to follow? That's exactly what easier said than done means. Let's say someone says, just stay calm during your exam. Now it sounds easy, right? But staying calm under pressure, that's easier said than done. Here are some more examples. She said I should move on, but it's easier said than done. They told me to forgive and forget, but that's easier said than done. Starting a fitness routine is easier said than done, especially with a busy schedule. Alright, let's move on to the 7th idiom in our lesson, and that's in a nutshell. Now, this one's pretty short and sweet. In a nutshell means to give a summary, to explain something in a very simple and clear way. So if someone says, tell me what happened in a nutshell, they don't want to know the whole story. They're asking you to just come to the main point. Let's look at some examples. In a nutshell, we ran out of time and didn't finish the project. She's not coming. In a nutshell, she's too busy. In a nutshell, it's a bad idea. We shouldn't go ahead with it. Alright guys, let's move on to idiom number 8, and that's the last straw. Now this one is quite interesting. This idiom refers to the final thing that pushes you over the edge. See, you have been patient, with something, but now it's like too much. That's when you use this idiom. Imagine you had a long, tiring day and then you spill your coffee. That tiny thing feels huge because spilling the coffee is just a normal thing, it happens. Because your day was bad, you felt it like a huge thing. So that was the last straw. Let's look at some examples. I was already stressed and then the power went out. That was the last straw. His constant complaints were annoying, but shouting at me was the last straw. The noisy neighbors were always loud, but last night's party was the last straw. Let's move on to the next idiom, steal someone's thunder. Now this means to take attention or praise away from someone who deserves it. See, imagine this. You have been working hard on a project, and just before you present it, someone else shares the results and gets all the credit. Now that's stealing your thunder. It's like taking credit for your work or your efforts. For example, I announced my engagement, but then She shared her pregnancy news and stole my thunder. The surprise party was great until my sister stole the thunder with her big announcement. It feels bad when someone else gets credit for your hard work. You know, they steal your thunder. Alright, let's move on to the last idiom from today's lesson, and that's not playing with a full deck. Now, this is quite a funny idiom, and it means someone isn't thinking clearly or is acting in a silly or an unusual way. It is generally used in a light, joking way when someone's behavior does not make any sense. Let's look at some examples. He wears socks on his hands. I think he's not playing with a full deck. I mean, who wears socks in their hands, right? She talks to her plants every morning. Maybe she's not playing with a full deck. I forgot my shoes at home. Clearly, I am not playing with a full deck today. Alright, that's all for today. Now you've got 10 amazing C1 level idioms that can make your English sound smart, natural, and expressive. Now, which one did you like the most? Write your own sentence using that idiom in the comments and I'll be reading and replying to. And if you found this lesson helpful, give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss such interesting English lessons. I will see you in the next lesson. Until then, keep learning and keep practicing English. Bye for now.